Hi, welcome to the 3D pendant. Christmas is coming again. So let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. And then we can deck the halls with some Christmas tree chains or simple ornaments made from those snowflakes. These are perfect for a 3D pen beginner project because you are mostly tracing things on a flat surface, which will give you some practice with your new 3D pen if you are just starting out. So let's look into it. Besides your pen and filament, you will need some snowflake templates. You can design your own or get these from the 3D pendant Etsy store. The link is down below. They include 5 different snowflakes in 3 sizes and also come with a blank grid if you wish to design more ornaments in the same style and size. Then we'll need a few extra things you probably already have around the house. Pliers to cut filament, tape, a removal tool, some sticky things to hold down the project while you work on it. I use kneaded eraser, but any clean mounting putty will do. Some spacers, like 2 pieces of a square dowel, and scissors and thread to hang it all up. Work surface is super important. I use clear plexiglass sprayed with matte acrylic finish, with a clear pocket taped to the bottom of it for quick pattern changes. If you need to know the details on that, there are 2 of my videos on surfaces in the description below. If this is your first time using a 3D pen, here are a few basics. Just rest your pen on the surface and drag. Let the line flow out of the pen. Always pull the line. Never push it in the direction you are drawing, or you will get a messy, thick line with a groove in it. This may seem obvious, but it comes up more than you'd think, especially with lines that have a lot of loops, like a script, for example. If you need to cross another line, just drag over it. And if you need longer lines super straight, you can use a metal ruler, like with any other pen. If you need to run across more than 2 lines, it can get a bit messy. So you may need to start from that point and work outward to avoid building a big plastic bump in the center. As the design gets denser, you start to need to cross way too many lines that are in the way. And at that point, it may be easier to just land on the surface at the anchor points only, and otherwise hold the pen just ever so slightly off the surface in the air, so you are not bumping to your previous lines all the time. You don't have to finish the whole shape all in one go. Just draw only as much as feels comfortable, and stop, and then reposition your project to reach it better. Drawing smaller pieces and spinning the project often will help you avoid that problem of going in the wrong direction, pushing into your line, that we talked about earlier. Just make sure you do land at all the anchor points where you need the lines to securely attach to each other, or you will have random pieces of the design fall off later, because just resting the line on top of each other won't attach them securely enough. Where you want them stuck together, you need to make sure you land there. When you get done, give it a few moments to cool before you peel it off the surface, so you don't deform your project by messing with it while it's still warm. You will need some removal tool to pop it off the surface. I use a dental tool, but palette knives also work very nicely for this. When you make enough snowflakes, it's time to string them. A modern twist on stringing popcorn and cranberries. I use a strong button thread to do this with. And then simply thread it through the side loops and tie it. This would be way easier to do with a big needle. I am being stubborn here because I didn't tell you you will need a needle, but if you have one, use it. There we go. And done. Makes a good group project because everyone can make one snowflake and contribute to the chain. You can also make your chain longer from year to year. Now, you didn't get a 3D pen to make just flat things, did you? So let's take a step into the third dimension. Let's do a different snowflake design this time, sticking to our good habits from making the first one. This time we'll need all three sizes of the same design. And actually, the two smaller ones we'll need to make twice. Ready to go 3D now? Let's stabilize our medium-sized snowflake first, so it stays put. And put our square dowel spacers on top of it. Then we will center the smallest size snowflake on top and stick that down too. And then we'll connect it either straight down or at a slight angle outward. Make sure to wait until the connections solidify completely before moving anything. And if it still wiggles, stick down the dowel too. By the way, you can save yourself part of this struggle if you leave the bottom flake attached to your surface. Connect the top and only then you peel it off with your palette knife. I just thought it would be good to see that not all is lost if you do take it off. Plus, it shows nicely on the video on the dark surface. Connecting 2 points in space is called bridging. And it is always easier to bridge downward with gravity. At least until you get used to it. Then we will attach the biggest snowflake to the stack the same way. Always easier to work from the skinny end to the wider one. Just because it gives you a better access with the pen that way. this point, we will just attach the two halves together, the same old way. We are done. Ready to hang our ornament right here. You can definitely take your snowflakes as they come, but you can also give them an extra finishing touch by baking them in the oven. I bake on ceramic tile lined with either a Teflon sheet or a silicone baking liner or even a piece of parchment paper, if you don't have anything else. But the Teflon sheet works best for this. Set your dial at 450 Fahrenheit or 230 Celsius for about 10 to 13 minutes. But watch it. It may be slightly different depending on your equipment. If you have a convection fan in the oven, turn it off. Any draft will move the plastic around. It is a very sensitive animal. Once it's baked, give it a second to harden, and then you can put another cold tile on top of it to speed up the cooling process and prevent any unwanted warping. Here is a detail of unbaked versus baked snowflake. It may not look that different on the video, but the baking evens out the lines and finishes off all the knobby, scratchy connections and gets rid of most of the skinny hair hanging from the project. However, there is a downside to baking. You may get some heat distortion, which sometimes look very organic and even better than the original, but sometimes not so much. This one looks very plant-like, sort of like a grass, but snowflakes are by nature more geometric and crystalline, so it depends what you want from it as a designer. Try baking one and see if this baking thing is for you or not. Whether you decide to bake or not, the variations are endless, especially if you get into color. Then you can start agonizing about whether to go from blue to white or from white to blue. Not to mention there are other shapes than snowflakes. Remember the daisy necklace pendant from a few videos ago? That will make an excellent Christmas ornament. And the template for that is also in the 3D pendant Etsy store. But that would have to be another video. So until then, go and make something.